Hey y'all, it's Barry, and today I'm going to take you through my art book collection and show you some of my absolute favorites. I'm going to go in no particular order, and that order is largest, like tallest book, to shortest book, because that's how I have them organized on my shelf. Also, out of just sheer curiosity, how do you organize your books? Do you go like alphabetical? Do you go color order? What do you do? Let me know. So, starting off strong with one of my absolute favorites, and I love this case. This is Vox by Matteo De Longis. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but I love this. It's reminiscent of a vinyl slip, and it just works so well. This is just so thoughtfully designed. I'm gonna have to be careful which pages I flip through because some of them are a little bit not safe for YouTube, but neon yellow, yes. Neon anything? Yes, please. He does something interesting with his line art, I think, where he will blur the edges just a tiny bit. He'll take the line art and he'll put like a tiny bit of a Gaussian blur on it. And I've been doing that with some of my line art recently, and it just adds something. It adds just a little bit of something. Anyway, I'm not gonna flip through this whole book, but if this is something, if this kind of art style is something that you're interested in, definitely take a look at this book, because it is such a well-curated book and well-designed book with a ton of great art in it. This art, like all of the texture and everything in the hair, the halftone for the shading on the hands, it's great. So once again, that was Vox by Matteo De Longis. Second is the movie art of Mead. Very influential sci-fi concept illustrator on a lot of movies you've probably watched. Like all of these. But this is just a lot of concept art. There's people in here, but there's a lot of environment and object and vehicle art. And a lot of construction, which is why I was seeking this book out, because I've been trying to learn a bit more about construction and volume when it comes to sci-fi and technological elements and objects. And having this as a study piece is really helpful for the kind of analysis of form that goes into it. Because he leaves a lot in his sketch in terms of formation of shapes and volumes. Plus, if you're a movie enthusiast and you want to see where some of the concepts in things like Tron and Blade Runner came from, then this is a really cool book to just flip through and see where a lot of sci-fi visualization came from, like early sci-fi visualization. It's just a really fantastic book. Next up is the art book for my favorite movie, or one of my favorite movies, the Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind watercolor impressions. And my favorite thing about this book is just, I like how I happened to flip to the most perfect page, is just Miyazaki's absolutely stunning commentary. I don't even remember this one. This was a gift given to me by my husband because I love this movie so much. And I have volume 1 of the manga, but I haven't finished. I don't have the rest of it, which I should get because it's very different from the movie. But I love seeing all of these different iterations of Miyazaki's vision of Nausicaa. So this is another one I'm gonna have to be very careful about which pages I show. This is Real Size by Katsuya Terada. But this art is incredibly impressive because it's all drawn mural. So you can see his, like, stages in production here. And then a more close-up photo. And I love this because it goes so close up, so you can see all of the details in the piece. I also really like how faces are drawn. Like, just the shapes in the face is really appealing to me. Let me see if I can find one of the... There it is. So you've got some pages like this in here that actually fold out so you can see wider view of the drawing. And like the detail in these drawings is amazing. So I love flipping through this book. It's very impressive. So again, that was Real Size by Katsuya Terada. So this is... It's technically an art book because photography is art, but this is a photography book. This is Tokyo by Liam Wong, and the format of this is like a clock, because all of this is Tokyo after dark. There's actually a foreword by Hideo Kojima, so that's interesting. So these are all photographs of Tokyo after, I think after midnight, or at least after dark. And these are some fantastic cyberpunk and like neon nightlife references. When I was doing Cyberpunktober in, what was that, 2020? I heavily referenced this book for lighting and the way that water on pavement reflects the neon lights. Like, this is beautiful. So this was a heavy reference book for me when I was doing that series. If you're into photography, this I think is a must-have. This is a beautiful shot. Look at this. Look at this lighting. Oh, this one also has these fold-out pages. This one folds out super wide. Anyway, that's Tokyo by Liam Wong. So this is the first in what I'm going to call the YouTuber art books, or the influencer art books, I guess. I think a lot of these were through the same publishing company. But this is Tumble, The Art of Chris Hong. And I kickstarted this book back when it was on Kickstarter, because I've been following Chris Hong on YouTube for a really long time. And her use of color is so intricate and phenomenal to examine and look at. Like, this is... I love how many different colors are in things like the skin tones. Let me find an example. Like here, the way that she doesn't, like blends the legs together, but in a way that adds mood to the piece, rather than looking like she just didn't draw the leg. And there's like blue, there's even green I see in the skin tone. Just so many different intricate uses of color in the skin tone. The teal eyelashes, the purple in the eyebrows, the purple and red in the eyebrows, like all of the different colors in the skin tones. That is the cattiest cat I've ever seen. That cat is 10 million% cat. I really love how she adds all of these random bits of color. Like there's this random streak of teal here and here, and just like colors in places that you wouldn't expect them to be. And I think it adds kind of this like dreamy quality, or almost a little bit glitchy quality to her work in a good way. That was Tumble by Chris Hong. Next is Ritual by Erica Williams. And Erica Williams is one of my favorite artists right now. I love all of her work. I love this. The level of detail that Erica puts into her drawings and her artwork is so stunning. I love everything about this. I love the colors. I like that Erica doesn't limit herself to like a particular color palette, but like you can still read this as her artwork. So that was Ritual by Erica Williams. The next one is Making Color Sing, Practical Lessons in Color and Design by Jean Dobie. This is an instructional book. This is not like an art compilation book like the rest of them have been. So this is all about how to use pigment and color to its advantage. And I think this focuses mostly on watercolor, but I think also the application of color and like the study of how to know when to use what kinds of colors where, I think is applicable to any kind of artwork. Like this, you wouldn't typically think this kind of a scene might have these pink tones in it, but it adds a lot of vibrancy to the scene. So this is all about how to use color in a way that is both harmonious and also vibrant, and doesn't make muddy colors. And this page I think is really important because it's talking about how white isn't always just white. For an example, this white flower can be rendered in many different ways depending on the lighting conditions surrounding it. So this is a really good book for study of use of color. I really recommend it. That was Making Color Sing by Jean Dobie. Next up is The Art of Heikala, Works and Thoughts, and I literally just noticed this. The dot on the eye is a little kitty cat. But this is another artist that I've been following online for a while. They have this really soft but vibrant way of rendering things that's so appealing. And I think this book does a lot of commentary and talking about the way that they go about their process. So there's a lot of text in this book that you can go through and read about how Heikala goes about making the choices that they do in their work. There's also some stuff about how to get your work out there and how they've found work. So if you're interested in making a business out of your art, there's some stuff in here for you too. Anyway, very nice art book. This is The Art of Heikala, Works and Thoughts. Next up is Imaginative Realism, How to Paint What Doesn't Exist by James Gurney. And I think my parents got me this book one year. I haven't actually looked through this book too extensively. It talks about making little 2D and 3D mock-ups, whatever it is you want to depict so that you know how it works in 3D. But if you are more into drawing from imagination than drawing from life, then this is a good book to pick up and study from. Kind of think about how you would go about imagining and constructing these objects in your head and maybe even in reality before you draw them. So that was Imaginative Realism. Next up is the Style of Loish, and Loish actually has a couple of art books out now. I think she's got 3. This is her most recent one, and it is the only one that I have. I don't have the other 2. Loish is probably one of the most well-known, I guess, I don't want to say influencers, but like online artists. And she's done a lot of work for, like, for instance, concept work for Horizon Zero Dawn. And she is an incredibly prolific artist. I think she also has one of the most distinctive styles in terms of shading technique and shape language, especially in her faces. She's a very recognizable artist. And an artist with a lot of work behind her hands. She's made a lot of art. So the other 2 that I don't have are The Art of Loish and The Sketchbook of Loish, and this one was The Style of Loish. Next up is Reverie, The Art of Sibylline Meynet. I love Sibylline's art. I think it's so evocative. Ooh, vellum. Fancy. I think there's something really evocative about it. I think she uses colors in a very harmonious way. I really love this art. Even though it's not something that I necessarily try to emulate, I still just, as somebody who admires art, I admire this art. It's very pretty. I think one thing that I could take away from this, and also a couple of the other artists that I've shown, is I tend not to draw a lot of objects. I tend to just draw people. And after a while, that gets a little boring, and I could use, I could stand to incorporate some other objects into my artwork that aren't just a person. So that was Reverie, the artist of Sibylline Meynet. So this one is new to me. This was a Christmas gift just this past Christmas, so I've only had this for a couple weeks at this point, but this is new retro illustrations. This is from Pi Media, and it is a compilation of, I think, 40 different artists. So in the beginning, it goes through each of the artists that you're gonna see in the book. It gives them each a page. Or no, these are themes. These are not artists, these are themes. And I don't read Japanese, so I don't know what this theme is, or what this page says. I kind of wish they had some more translation in the book. There's a little bit of translation, but not a lot. But this is 40 artists, I think, all within different themes of retro illustration. And I love all of the, like, 80s and 90s inspired art in this. I love this. I love the scene. I love the colors. I love that the figure is, like, breaking out of the frame in both of these. I think that's a feature that I could incorporate more, is having, like, a little bit of a scene behind, but then, like, the person is breaking out. I love these shoes. They're so well drawn. They're so puffy. Did anybody have Polly Pocket growing up? I think I may have only owned one, but these are all different retro illustrations by compilation of artists. And one thing that I really like about this book is in the back, they have pages. They have a little snippet for each artist in this book, and it tells you all of their social media, and it also tells you what program they used to create their art. So if you like some of the art in this book and you want to go find the person on social media, you can, I guess, as long as they haven't updated their social media and changed their username or something. I don't know what any of this says, though. I don't know what any of the things in Japanese say. So that was new retro illustration. And then by the same Pi Media compilation, or Pi International compilation, we have real clothes illustration. It's all fashion illustration. So these are all, it's the same format. So you have all of your different artists that are in this book, but it's all different styles of clothing. So you have some really, like, soft styles. You have some kind of casual, some more, like, alt fashion, and then some, like, really streetwear kind of, these two up top. So this is a really great, like, costume and character design reference if you need a little bit of inspiration on what kind of outfits your characters are going to wear. Obviously don't copy exactly, but, you know, sometimes you might like the silhouette of something that you see, or the pattern of something that you see. And again, in the back, we have the index of all of the different artists, their social media pages, their Twitter and Instagram, and then the program that they use to make their artwork. So that was Real Clothes Illustration, Fashion Illustration Outfit of the Day by Pi International. Oh, also, here's a little flyer of all of the other stuff that Pi International has produced. Another compilation book, this time by 3D Total Publishing. This is Sketching from the Imagination Sci-Fi. I think this is another one that my parents got me. Mostly I use this for study. It's a compilation of, I don't know how many different artists are in here, but they talk about the way that they sketch, their inspiration, what materials they use, and any techniques that they use. And then they have a couple of different pages. There's tips like about readability. There's a couple different pages of their artwork. Then it moves on to the next artist where it has their inspiration, their materials, and their techniques. It goes through all of these different artists that use very different sketching styles. And it goes through all of their sketching techniques. So this is really great for concept artists and anybody who wants to be able to sketch sci-fi and fantasy from imagination. There's creature design in here, there's like technology, there's some vehicles, there's character design, all kinds of stuff. There's environment art. There's some freaking Eldritch horror crap going on. There's all kinds of stuff. I don't even know how many different artists are in here. And they're all listed in back with their website and a little bio. And there's different books in this series. So I have the sci-fi one. There's also storytelling, anime and manga, fantasy, characters, dark arts, and creatures and monsters. So that's sketching from the imagination sci-fi. Next up is The Many Works of Mizucat by Mizucat. Mizucat is a retro illustrator, a Japanese retro illustrator. So you'll see a lot of like 80s and 90s stuff in here, and it's just such a gift to look at. Like, I love all of these vibes. And like this anime style is not something that I especially want to emulate, but the composition, I think, like, this really appeals to me. I love this spread so much. I love the colors. Anyway, I'm not gonna flip through this whole thing, but that is The Many Works of Mizucat. Next up is Grow, The Art of Koyamori. And I've been following this artist on, I think, Tumblr and Twitter? Possibly both. For a little while. And I love all of the different illustrative elements in this artwork. I love the bits of surrealism. I love the colors. I love the patterns. Just, I admire this art so much. That is Grow, The Art of Koyamori. And last, but certainly not least, is Polaris, The Art of Mayoko. And Mayoko is another artist that I've been following online for a while. I love the kind of soft pastel and like sort of 90s vibes that you get from this. Like, it's not quite retro, but it has elements of that. I love the line art, the colored line art, which is something that I've been incorporating in my own line art lately. And how kind of like simplified all of the forms are of this. It looks so juicy, I want to bite it. But I think this is a really great example of art that can be turned into merchandise. Like, a lot of these could work really well as stickers. I think there's a lot of really great design in Mayoko's art. And by design, I mean like object design. You know, all of these different iterations of witch hats. This one's boba! Oh my gosh. It's Moon Phase Boba Witch Hat. I think they actually sell a shirt that's very similar to this. But like I was saying with Sibylline's art, like the incorporation of the different objects around the composition, I think is something that is a weakness in my art. Or at least, like, I could incorporate better. Oh my god. They're so cute. That is Polaris, The Art of Mayoko. Those were all of my art books. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up and make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any videos in the future. Till next time, take care. Now I've got to put all of these back.